Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mindshare Buffalo podcast. This is your host Ravikant, aka the Buffalo Intellectual. What a few rolling weeks we've had. Usually between episodes, I'm always wondering, what my next episode should be on, and um, I keep looking at the news cycle, current affairs stories to try and comment on. This period in time has been giving. So much has gone down that I truly don't know what to make this episode on. So I'm going to mash it all together. My original idea was that I was going to talk a little bit about my trip. I don't know when you're listening to this, but at the time of recording, like very recently, I'd been to the UK for a South Asia Studies conference. I was going to talk a little bit about academia and South Asia studies, my issues and experiences with that. But mm, 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 none of that matters because so much has happened in the internet. Ladoos at Tirupati were found to be, or allegedly found to be contaminated by animal fat, okay, which has truly kind of offended a lot of the believers. So that controversy rages on, and a lot of people very upset. And I can understand if you're a religious, devoted person like this is like uh, I'm I don't mean to make light of it. It's really going to bother you, and I get that. But like as somebody who's politics and and I'm not a religious person, like, and I know this is gonna be a very nasty thing to say, but it's kind of a little bit funny. Okay, I don't mean to offend you. Truly don't. I know that I may go through some trauma or horror, which may be funny to somebody else, truly inappropriate. I get it, but it's kind of a little funny. But like I thought I was. That's one whole episode right there. Because it really shook up the Telugu politics, national politics. There's a lot of churn around it. Like no jokes there. It's actually serious shit. But then all the elite Savarna, space, Gen Z and millennials, elite urban Savarnas, these worlds united, everybody came together to just go to book my show and try to book Coldplay. And that kind of united both of these, monster generational cohorts together in their outrage. Like everybody suddenly, like all of these, it's fantastic to think about. But for this section of India's population, this micro super elite who can spend tens of thousands of rupees for a Coldplay concert, right? Like this is their first perhaps encounter with a bureaucratic process where their natural advantages don't work. So like they go to book my show, and they're like made to wait, and like they're given a waiting line, and everybody's very frustrated. And then they see some like super privileged influencers apparently flaunting they got tickets because they had an in with the book my show team. And you see these people come out and they're like, I can't believe, this is where concerts shouldn't happen. People are dying. Coldplay, please intervene. Like, this is fans aren't able to get the tickets because the company has sort of book my show has given the tickets to politicians and corporate partners. Like they're all in outrage because they feel wrong. They feel the system has wronged them. God damn you, book my show. How dare you book my show? And it's so funny because this is the exact experience of like a vast majority of Indians in availing any form of public civic service, entitlement, whatever you want to call it, any kind of right, any kind of engagement with the law, with the police, with the civic administration, with the education system. This is the experience of a vast majority of Indians. Daily experience, by the way, whether it is working with Manrega or like marginalized caste students trying to get government scholarships, or any, not just marginalized caste students, PhD scholars on the net fellowship, ad hoc teachers in the in the university system. Everyone is out there dying, trying to get like a if you're a differently able person trying to get a certification done, if you're a doctor, like, all of the negotiation with the complex bureaucracy of the medical system, like, if you're in the housing trying to get like a property, like you bought a property, but now you're trying to get it registered, and there are all these departments, you're trying to do business, there are all these permissions. Everyone has a uniform experience. Like they go to the department, they're made to stand in queues forever and ever, and like it almost seems like the system is opaque and it's too overcrowded. And then someone's gonna pass you, be like, yeah, I got it. Because like, dad knows somebody and dad knows a friend or something like that. And you just seethe in anger. And that's the experience. You just seethe in anger. You're like, eh." And that's quintessentially the Indian experience, which this group of elite Savarna Gen Z millennials never experience. So, like the other thing, it's also a little bit funny. Like I just can't help but enjoy this. It's just so incredibly funny to see these people cry and whine and moan and be, self-righteous against like these Savarna influencers. Like what that they done? How dare they get Coldplay tickets? Dude, you've been getting things handed to you your whole life in exactly this manner. I remember when I was a kid, we'd applied for a BSNL landline, like a landline, the phone line and everything. And my father sent me there, like, to kind of like, I was like in school or something. He said, go teach you, I don't know, adulthood or toughness or something. I still remember this and I went to this building in Calcutta where the office was on the eighth floor and the queue went all eight floors down. When I went in, I was at the ground floor and I went in the morning around 10:30. Eh, mm, By the time I reached the floor and filed my form, it was around 3:34. And on my way down, I saw the line was still stretching till two floors down. Like after a point, people stop coming because you realize that you won't reach the office by closing time. So, like, people like come 2 hours before opening. Like my experience of booking railway tickets when I was younger was, going to the booking station at 5 a.m. and standing in queue. People who regularly travel by trains and have a similar experience with IRCTC. And I know some of these experiences overlap even with the elite Savarna. So don't come at me. They'll be like, yeah, I am what you would call an elite Savarna, but even I struggle with IRCTC. Shut up. Just shut up. Okay, just don't do this. This is not the time where you prove your middle classness. Middle class is a absolute myth created by Savarnas to justify their sob stories. Shut the fuck up, okay? It's truly, it's so ghastly that I laugh now. I remember when I was in college, like one professor of mine, this upper class professor of mine, she was like, middle classness is a performance. Middle class is a performance. When I'm haggling for my, subsidy, with the vendor, I'm performing middle classness. So middle class is not an economic term, it's a performance, a social performance. And I was like, so when I'm haggling with the bhaji, I'm middle class. I was like, no, you're just an entitled prick who is who can easily pay 5 rupees extra per kg for the gobi that you're buying, but you refuse to do it because you refuse to recognize the labor of the vegetable vendor because you're a prick. Okay, you're a absolute doorknob of a human being. You feel that somehow saving that 5 rupees extra is your performance, like it shows your toughness. What a dumb fucking concept. Okay. Um, I get it if you come from a family of scarcity. Most people who are doing that kind of thing are like if you're driving a car and you're bargaining for like 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 rupees, shut the fuck up. Like it is so beyond me. I don't understand these things. And then people will be like, oh, I take the bus, I take the thing. I had to once go to this office, and this was my experience. I get it. What do you want me to say? It's a shit country. Okay, it's a shit country. The systems don't work. Why do you think people keep voting according to caste blocks or this? Because nothing else works. At least if you have your people in certain places, people will kind of like, get the things done somewhat at some point in time. I've made this like exact point many times before. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, this is a country where even if you're quote unquote rich, you call yourself middle class, but even if you are this rich so-called middle class, you still can't get things done because nothing works. Okay, but for a very small section of people who were like part of that like 2000s and 2010s cohort, where like you got into like MBA jobs, you got into tech jobs, you earned that income, your husband or wife is also making that kind of income, and like you remember your college engineering MBA days where you were like you were going through your Jersey phase while maintaining your GPA. Coldplay was probably a band you listened to right next to Pink Floyd and the Doors. That's how basic you were, okay? And like, don't come at me like, no, I was a metalhead. Shut up. It's the exact thing. It's the exact same culture. You were like a very basic version of a human being. You're an archetype which is funny unintentionally. You don't realize just how comically, nonsensically stupid you are. You're not original. You're not original. You're not original. Never were, never will be. So don't try to paint this Coldplay thing like this God amazing pilgrimage you have earned through 20 years of fandom. Be fucking honest. You've never been 20 years loyal to anything. Okay? Not to your favorite politician, not to any ideology, not to any football team. Just shut up. I'm tired of seeing you guys going to like, oh, I'm at Barcelona, no come. I'm like lifetime dream come true. No, this is a photo. This is a photo. I don't doubt the fact that like you spent many, many weekends on an unhealthy amount of so. Um, Weekends, getting drunk, watching football, yelling at a screen around a group of people. I don't doubt that you have done it, but that doesn't mean you're part of the thing. It just means you're so basic that you took the base bargain, lowest hanging fruit in popular discourse that was around, whether it is F1, whether it is football. You just took that thing and you ran with it. Okay? You just ran with it and you decided to make it your whole personality because let's be honest, what else are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do? You're going to read a book? That's not what you're going to do. That's not what you're about. You're going to learn some new thing. You're going to become a different archetype of a human being. You're going to start thinking differently. No, you're a narcissist who got lucky with generational reforms. You were in the right college at the right program, got the right kind of job, and for some reason you think you were original and entitled, and that's why you got it. And now, like, this is your life. You've been watching football or F1 for like 20 years, right? And even then, you were never really into it because you needed something to fill your weekends and social life. Because let's be honest, how else were you going to make friends? I've seen your weddings, I've seen your house parties, I've seen your lifestyle. I've seen them all. You guys are such carbon copy, cliche, cookie cutter morons. Okay, absolute morons. And by the way, I'm saying this, me, as a complete flop failure in my life. S- Like, you guys have all way more money than me, way more like influence than me, way better network than me. You're married, you're with kids or whatever. I live with my cat who fucking bites me like 5 times a day for no reason because she's fucking insane. She has to live with me. That's my life. So I'm not even coming at it from a point of like, oh, I figured my life out and you didn't. No, my life. I'm truly the worst example to follow. And I've said this before, worst example to follow, but even to a fuck up like me, it's so obvious just how comically reductive your life is. And I'm not even talking from a point of bitterness. Bitterness is, "Oh, I wanted what you had." No, I never want. I was what you are. And I was like, anything is better than this. being a 38, 39-year-old bum who's sort of soft blacklisted in academia and no decent college will hire me even though I have the credentials for it, and I'm sitting with this like this kind of intellect that I've gathered and built because I thought that was worthwhile, and the only sustainable outlet of it is just sitting on a camera and trying to throw my podcast out there in a world of beer biceps. That's my life. And even this was better than what I where I was after my MBA. And I was like, oh, this is not where I want to be. In a gated community in Bombay, paying 1 lakh rupees for rent of a house, which I can afford because I bring in 2 lakh rupees and my partner brings in 2 lakh rupees. And like, we have a property, bought some, and we all have a dream since 2010 of starting a cafe in Goa, except like too many people have done that and it's boring and Goa is dumb. And I made like a video about it because nothing's original anymore. Nothing is original anymore. So please, can you not pretend Coldplay is this life-changing concert because you're a super fan and you were waiting for this? You weren't. This is what it is, okay? Are you ready? This is what it is. It's the most recognizable element of your Winamp playlist from the early mid 2000s. Because Coldplay bad, started sucking terribly by 2010. And nobody has been a new Coldplay fan since then. Okay. So the band is one great nostalgia. Let's face it, this is your Kirtan event. This is the exact reason why in North India, these gated community housing colony uncles and aunties do bhajan nights, kirtan nights. It's a way, it's something that they remember as children, and they need to fill their social life out. And like it's a great place to like show your organizational skills, show your connect. Like I got the permission for the loudspeaker, or I got Falana Babaji or Falana reciter of the thing and everything, and hum Sundar Kand padhayenge or something like that. It's a great thing for them to do. And the Coldplay thing is exactly that. Exactly that. You're going for it with this virtuoso energy is because Pink Floyd is not in town. Taylor Swift won't come. And like BTS is, I don't know, under contract. And if they look at India, then it upsets some other partners. I don't know. I don't know. Like BTS is like an AI generated, band, by Korean music industry, which is what I love about them. Actually, every time I teach a lot of young students. Many of them are like hardcore K-pop stans. Like, tell me, they look me in the eye and say things like, "BTS saved my life," and you know what? I'm not even making fun of that. They're not lying. I get it. I get it because their lives are so one dimensional and so basic and so alienated from this incredible failing, falling, struggling, rising, resilient, this India story that like they truly, truly have no experience, uh, capacity to connect anything except this music industry, Korean music industry, and music executives created uh, boy band who are basically literally like like slaves to the contracts that they have been signed, and the company will slam you on the head for every piece of merchandise, and they're selling you cards and whatnot, and you know that they are milking you for your money, but you'll still buy it because money is the only resource you have, and you're buying your way to a community and a connection, and you look at the star on the stage and they're like, they are like me because they are also trapped and they don't know what else to do. That's the only way I understand this K-pop idol. Like you look at these stars and you're like, they're not like, rock stars. Rock stars had a personality. They often had a giant FU to the music industry. They did all kinds of crazy stunts. The K-pop industry is something completely different. You look at it and you're like, oh my God, like these people are trapped and they're like they're young people, they're trapped in this bubble of like, fame and constant camera glares. And like these are music industry executives, middle-aged men and women were like whipping them, like, go dance monkey, dance monkey. And these frightened teenagers who are supposed to be stars are on stage and they're dancing for you. And when I'm this alienated person, I'm looking like I am also like you. So like I get it. I get that whole part of it. And if I'm wrong about this, I'm an out of touch 38-year-old. Okay? 39-year-old. I'm fine being wrong. Don't come at me. Don't be like, you don't get it, you're a bitter old man. Yes, I am. Yes. I'm not supposed to get it. It's not meant for me. Okay? If you are a 28, 30, 35-year-old K-pop, K-star, don't don't come at me. I don't get it. I'm saying this again. Am I allowed to say that I don't get it? And this is my analysis. And if you think my analysis is is hitting home with you, good for you also. Okay. I don't want to be right. I don't mind being wrong. That's where I am about all this. So, like, please, I don't want to be like part of your puritanical lynch mob of the week. And I said about this, like another thing that happened around this time was this whole some savarna influencers, I think Ria Chops and all. Like there was this like whole vibe about like them being cat. I did a whole episode on that. And I'm not even talking about these people. I don't know them. I don't know them. I know them. They know me exactly. Like we don't know each other. We might just like okay, like may have liked something that I did, or I may have liked something. They may follow me, or I may follow. I don't even know that. Okay, I don't even think I follow her. Okay, but I know she exists because she's famous and she's kind of like very popular. And the same people who made her popular are like now going at her because like that's the whole thing. Like savarnas, elite savarnas, especially elite savarnas, have this pathology. There's a deep sense of self hate. I mean, I think that's what it is. It's like some kind of a deep internalized self hate. So they only gravitate to things that are like them. So they go towards it like a moth to a flame. They truly don't have the capacity to relate to any other social experience except anything that is very closely resembling to who they are and what they are. And when they come too close to it, or when it like when it becomes too real for them, they truly start hating it with a vengeance because it's just bizarre actually. And that takes on the shape of this like this lynch mob. It's a like yeah, it's like that. Like just like these like legions of like I get trolled a lot by the BJP IT cell, RSS, Sangeet type people also. So I have a very fair amount of degree of what that is like. That is, by the way, very mild compared to what is, and you can tell them apart. You like some people will like tweet at you or put like these paragraph comments at you, and you're like, oh, you're a product of a Sonipat liberal arts college writing program. Like, don't lie. You've written papers on academic writing. You have a GRE word list. Word list vocabulary. Clearly, you're not like these karyakarta ABVP types. That's not what's happening here. And the things you're getting angry at, they won't get angry at. It's very clear who's doing what. And some of these like the elite Savarna anger is so self-righteous and so violent. It is incredibly violent. The only I think saving grace is they turn that anger only towards each other. They don't have time for anything else because they can't relate to anything else. Right? So when the Coldplay concert comes and they have to stand in the digital line of book my show and they can't get the tickets. And a Savarna influencer or someone who's exactly like them, someone who's a corporate partner of book my show, or like someone who's family is important, and like they make a couple of phone calls and two tickets materialize. The people hating on them with a violence are exactly the kind of people who would have taken the exact same route if they could. This is their first experience of not being connected or rich or famous enough. And they are pissed. Imagine if the rest of us were that pissed that my farm loan waiver didn't come. You know, Agniveer is happening. If we were that pissed, my God, this country would be so different. This Coldplay thing is so funny. It's so funny to me. And the funniest element is because it's Coldplay. This old fucking band whose musicians are like so out of touch themselves and have moved and have drifted their music so far away from who they were that they're a joke. They're a joke. They went from being the biggest band in the world, who was supposed to be the face of alternate music in the early 2000s, and like their music was like everywhere, and like it was very widely listened to. People who became the reaction to Coldplay now is, what? Like that was the reaction to them, like around 2010 and all. And then by 2015, 2018, like they're not relevant. They're old. They're old play. They're not Coldplay. They're old play. I'm sorry, I'm going for a very base bargain pun. They're old play. And this band is creating this level of fury from Gen Z and millennials alike. Millennials, I can still sort of understand. Gen Z, like, pick a lane. Pick a fucking lane. What is wrong with you guys? You can't simultaneously say you have your own culture and then lay claim to millennial culture also. And if you do, I mean, you can totally do whatever you want because you guys run the world and I'm terrified of you. Do whatever you want because, but it'll be funny. It's funny. Why the fuck do you care so much about Oldplay? You were not born when half of their songs were like number one, or like you were still pooping your diapers. I get it. Like it's the same thing with like Pink Floyd. Like many of us were not born like millennials when they saw. I get it, but like you listen to it, and I'm not gonna get so outraged. Like I know people in my generation would be like, "Oh, I'm a Pink Floyd fan." Shut up! You're a Chelsea. You're a Chelsea. You didn't know good music. You just heard it. Stop making it a personality. It was wrong for people like us who didn't. It's still funny, not wrong. It was funny when people like us did. I found it always funny because I was a complete outsider to this culture. So when I discovered that people are smoking up and listening to the Doors and Pink Floyd, because that back in the day that's what they did. I used to ask like, okay, but like, can't you listen to A.R. Rahman and Shah Rukh Khan music when you do it? And like, you couldn't do it. And now Shah Rukh Khan has made like a full comeback. And I've ranted about this. One of the earliest episodes of the podcast. It's so bizarre. It's so ass backwards. There is not much to talk about. And while all of this is happening, Tirupati Laddu controversy is breaking up. Where what, at least the way I see it, it's a food adulteration scam. Okay? It's not about a controversy of sullying a religion. And I think I read some report where even that contestation, that claim might be, not very accurate. But it does not surprise me that instead of basic ghee, some much cheaper substitute was being put in because food adulteration is, my God, so massive. A few months ago, some of our big spice brands got banned by countries like Singapore because they were like, no, 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 this is not spice. It has ungodly amounts of adulterants which are toxic to human beings. So we will not let this enter our country. You can feed it to your own people because you don't give a shit that their digestive system rots from the inside and they get like a dozen odd cancers and tens of thousands of them die over like decades. You don't give a shit about that. We do. So we're gonna ban your spice mixes. And there was like no large hue and cry about it. This was not discussed in the parliament, or like if it was not a big issue. Apart from like some Twitter, like and even the tone on places like Twitter was, "Did you know? You should be alarmed about this, and you're not." And that was like Twitter has this energy. Like, did you know this is going on? You're not alarmed. You should be alarmed. You're not scared. You should be scared. Be terrified. Like that. That's the energy on Twitter. Like that. Like, but I'm not going at Twitter. I'm just. This was not discussed at all. Like milk is being adulterated. Atta is being adulterated. Like people are mixing things like urea and all of those things. Half of the food that we eat is so processed. Like I I routinely don't trust anything, which is why when people say like, "Oh, smoking will give cancer," like yes, I know smoking and lung cancer has a very high correlation. But you know what else is likely to give me cancer? All this garbage that I'm eating, which I have no kind of there is no food security, food standardization worth talking about in this country. Pilferage and adulteration is so widespread and so massive because it is so profitable, and it funds the shadow political economy of running elections and getting things done. Everything is just so connected. So that's really the main story. I don't know what I'm eating. Like people were, don't drink diet cola. It has, these things which will give you cancer. Yeah, when everything, breathing will give me cancer. Do you know where we are? Drinking water. I have no clue what the fuck is in my water. It's just so rampant, this idea. And even like something like Tirupati Ladoos, which could have been a great point into how food is so widely adulterated in this country that nothing is sacred. Okay. It's not some godless heathen like me who gets the contract to supply ghee to a big temple foundation like Tirupati. It won't be someone like me. It will be somebody who is connected to that network. And the fact that food adulteration and cutting corners and making skimming profits at the cost of supplying whatever crap to the people eating, this is so widespread. This is so deeply entrenched that truly there are no holy cows left, pun intended. There's truly nothing sacred. They will even adulterate prasad of their most holy religious sites. And this is not even about one religion. I'm pretty sure food adulteration is widely practiced in any kind of produce, any kind of like offering that is coming out of religious, spiritual spaces across a wide range of faiths and institutions. I'm sure some people are still, some places, some temples, some structures, some gurdwaras, some whatever are still doing a good job of like being very ethical and like being very rigorous about it. But by and large, like this is not how the vast majority of things are running. If we I like how like the news came, I was seeing like the Puri, I think Puri Jagannath temple, like after 10 days, they were like, okay, we will now taste Kartik. Why did you wait 10 days? Why did you wait 10 days? Like, you should have immediately gone and done it because like 10 days is enough time to turn things around a little bit and be like, okay, let's do this. And let's kind of reassure our people that that kind of skullduggery is not happening here. It's fascinating that like this is going to be, and it's a political storm because Chandrababu Naidu, that old fox, he's found a way to kind of put one foot in the religious political market because he's always been known as like a development. He recently said Amravati is going to be the new capital of Andhra. And like the first letter and the last letter of Amravati is A and I. So he's like, this is Amravati will be city of AI. So he's doing all that, but he's also like hedging his bets. Last time being the development man did quite work very well for him because he got thrown out of power by YSR, if I remember correctly. So he's like, okay, no. I have one foot in this market. Thank you very much, please. And also kind of like discredit, like put this giant stain on the reputation of Jagan Reddy and like basically finish him off. And I if this sticks, and very likely it will, it's difficult to kind of bounce back from. I get it. It's a fantastic political move, but it's also something that should make a lot of different kind of mutts, mandirs, religious institutions and spiritual institutions and ashrams of all kind very, very nervous, because like, oh my god, what happens now from here on in? And while all of this is going on, the other like kind of story which could have been an episode in itself, and maybe do it at some point, because it's something that very close to my like heart, is like the work culture. Like these savarna elite monsters, who are crying about the fact, millennials, I mean, like many of whom are crying about the fact that they can't book my show tickets, and like god damn these 20-year-old influencers, how dare they use, like, dude, why won't they get tickets? They're young, they're hot, they will make great visibility, and who are they going to put on the front row? You're like fat ass, you 43-year-old uncle with like a beer belly, and like who listened to Coldplay, like back in early 2000s. No, like shut up. Like it's not for you. It's not for you. This is how the industry works. I'm not trying to body shame or whatever. Don't come at me with all of that. I'm bored with that. They're young, they're famous, they're hot, they're like in their 20s. That's the kind of like, companies will reach out, their corporate connections. There's a lot of money to be made. This is how concerts work. They have always worked like this. This is not new. The only reason you give a shit is because it's a kind of a concert priced at a level that nobody except, like, it's not a Sonu Nigam concert, which I would imagine it's not a Shreya Ghoshal gig, where I would imagine there is some kind of a cross-sectional bandwidth. Because there are Savarnas who have a lot of wealth who are not this cross-section of eliteness, right? Eliteness is not just a function of wealth. Eliteness is also a function of this social polish that you use in a caste society to filter people out. This kind of concept, this kind of pricing is meant exactly for people like yourself. So this is what it is. And you're just upset that, like, because it is exclusively meant for people like you, you're not as rich or successful as the kind of people who would benefit from this. So that's what your whole outrage is about. And this whole idea, I mean, like, these are the same kind of people who are talking about unfairness because they couldn't get like a ticket. They're same kind of people, millennials. I'm not, the Gen Z is a different group altogether. Like, I don't want to go too deep into that. I don't want to lose this thread. They're same kind of people, millennials in their 30s and 40s, who are complaining about the fact, like, this is why we don't get good things in India, because the companies sell out. And when they go to work, they are monster bosses themselves. They work in organizations. The moment they get like an 18, 20, 22-year-old intern, they turn into goddamn monsters, or they turn into patronizing mama hen, daddy hen, big brother, I'll mentor you, bache, that kind of a mentality. Like, there's no third gear. Like, you can't treat like the younger person in a professional environment in a professional way. There's no such thing. Either you immediately start trying to kind of like throw your weight around, be that tough boss, respect, work hard, I'm making you better by, like, drowning you in work, and I'll teach you discipline and professionalism. Basically, you start doing some kind of ragging or hazing, but you disguise it in your own head because you're delusional as professionalism, right? So either you do that, or you do this really because you have a deep need to be loved and respected, because you're so fucking pathetic. Nobody can actually love you for the human being that you are. And I'm an expert on that subject because, like, I have a deep experience of being unloved. So I'm a bit of an expert on how unloved people feel. So, but even for me, even for someone as much of a fuck up as me, I don't stoop to that level where you start taking, like, these junior employees who are younger than you, who are interns or who have just starting out their career, as like these projects of yours. Like, you're going to be their guardian, or you're going to be their mentor, you're going to show them their way, you're going to be like all of this. Just treat them like human beings. You'll not do that. And it's a year of the Lord 2024, and it's unbelievable to me just how toxic workspaces in India are, often run and put in place by people who are also going on social media and talking about empathy and compassion. Like the people who put up with it, the people who do it, like it's just fantastic. Like just the levels at which this is normalized. When I was working in 2008, 2009, the 6-day working week was an aberration. You worked 5 days a week. Yeah, by then already the idea that, it's not a 9 to 5 job. It was never a 9 to 5 job. You stayed past 5 p.m. If you left home at 5:36, at least in the advertising communication industry, people looked at you funny, right? Even then, that was normalized that you had to stay at work. You couldn't leave at 5. It was just weird. Even if you didn't have work, you hung around. Like, so I get it. That was already happening. But now, like the 6-day work week is normalized. Like every company shadily has snuck into your weekend, like, alternate weekdays, alternate weekends, alternate Saturdays. What the fuck are you doing with alternate Saturdays? There are 52 weeks in the year. You're taking away 26. What level of ungodly productivity will you generate from these 26 extra days? Why do you want to see me so much, you obsessive stalker of a company? No, but like we will give you work. If 5 people are needed to do a job, we will hire only 3, overwork them and make them come in on Saturdays and shame them, and every leave that you take, every break that you take will be like made to feel like you're a terrible human being. You're stealing from the company. When you take a leave, it's like you're stealing from the company. People use sick leaves like casual leaves because you can't give enough casual leave, so people are forced to pretend to be sick. This is an industry-wide phenomenon. Bosses who are signing off on sick leave know exactly what's going on because you yourself did it when you were younger, and you probably still do it with your own boss. So then why the fuck are we all following this thing? And this girl died. This girl died of overwork, and like there has been no conversation on work culture. Thankfully, the government this time took note, and they were like, no, ENY better give a report. But it's not about ENY, it's not about consulting. Advertising does it, techies do it, every place. Universities are becoming more and more corporate. Everywhere it's about, what are your KRAs, key responsibility areas, what's your efficiency, what are you doing? Justify your role. We are paying you money. You peasant, be grateful you're getting paid, that you're not dying of hunger in this country where people have to go line up for Manrega. You know how difficult Manrega is to get paid? It's like, think like buying a Coldplay ticket every day. That's the level of like, bureaucracy you need to navigate to kind of get like paid for Rural Employment Guarantee Act. So be grateful, you bumpkin, you absolute peasant, you lumpen, that we've given you a job. Be grateful, come in Saturday, say thank you please. May I come in on Sunday as well? Can I sleep here in office? I have my toothbrush in my drawer. Can I put a pillow on the chair so that I can rest my bum and lower back, and then at night I can roll it on the floor and can I sleep here? Can I please keep breathing the office air conditioning air? I want more of the office inside me, in my lungs. Thank you, please, letting me be here for 26 extra days. Please make it 30. Please make it 40. Please make me live here in the office. I never want to go home. I never want to have a life. I never want anything else. Outside is scary. Outside is scary. It is scary. The air is unfit, and like there are people out there. I just want to be at work on my desk. My life has no other purpose except in building this company, and I want no credit. I don't want increments, so you don't have to worry about giving me a good healthy salary. Just let me stay at work. Chain me to the desk. Actually, don't chain me to the desk. Chain the desk to me. The desk should not be able to run away from me, because I will pull the desk back and say, you come right here, I'm not done working. That's what we need. I'm tired of these fucking, like people complaining about work hours. All these, Like all are great businessmen. Narayan Murthy, all these Infosys guys, that pudgy faced Pillsbury doughboy, Desi Musk wannabe, Ola guy, Bhavish Agarwal. Like you look at him, you Google his image, him grinning, like it will give you a nightmare. Like Bhavish, Narayan Murthy, that guy who got pulled up for financial fraud, who used to be on Shark Tank, Ashneer Grover, all of these people, they're all complaining about like oh, young people are complaining too much. Like how many people need to die before there's a conversation that these people are fucking idiots? You're underpaying people and you are sort of confusing your company growth with nation building. And maybe you're not confusing, maybe you're doing it willfully, and you're forcing these people, and you're constantly saying that your young employees are not showing enough work ethic. Like how many, I want to know, like how many people have to die at their desk or jump out of their office windows before we can beat these people? Like I don't advocate violence. I don't advocate violence. It's a joke. It's kind of supposed to be a funny podcast, but it's a hypothetical. It's a funny hypothetical. Ha ha hee hee. How many people have to die before we take Ashneer Grover or someone like him, take Bhavish Agarwal or someone like him, like beat them, like beat them. तूने बोला था ना? You had said it. Whack them. Like how? Like I would like to know a number. Like clearly 1% dying is not enough. Do we need to have 10 such overwork deaths a month? Knowing these monsters, they would probably come out and say, this is good. It shows that Indian youth is committed to nation building. They'll probably brand it also, Karamveer or something like that. They'll do it. What truly goddamn rotten society. It's all about like truly just staying at your level, knowing your place, shutting up and doing your role. That's it. That's what it is. Hey, you finished the whole episode. Well done. I can't believe you can tolerate my voice for so long. But in case you liked what you heard, you might consider also joining for the exclusive episode that I do for my paying subscribers, because that show gets into slightly edgier topics and I don't really want to put it out in the public domain. It's available on the Patreon as well as on YouTube through the join option. And in case you don't want to drop extra money, I completely understand. Please keep listening to my regular show. I'm grateful as ever. There's a buy me a coffee link in case you want to drop some love. Otherwise, just have a nice day. Stay being awesome. Bye bye.